Welcome to the Valley Lakes of Mount Gambier, South Australia. This is actually an old volcano, and about 17 years ago a man called Lionel Stingers thought it would be a pretty cool idea to close the roads every now and again and hold a hill climb event. Now that's where we are now. This is the Legend of the Lakes Hill Climb. We're here and we're going to be talking to the competitors. We're going to be exploring the track. We're going to be telling the story of the history, and we're really going to show you why I think this is the best grassroots motorsport event in the whole of Australia.
When you nail the run, you know it's a good one. It's the best feeling, yeah. When you've won with the car and everything's worked, you know you've done the best you can on that run. Yeah, nothing beats that.
I know, it's about fun. If you're not having fun, you might as well go play golf. Yeah. Same result.
Yeah, it's funny, you've got to remember to breathe on the way up. Most times you end up holding your breath from the beginning. You don't catch your breath till you get across the start line, or finish line, sorry. So yeah.
We're always aiming for that, new record each year. We think we've got the car to do it with all the little changes we've got under there. So I think if I get that one perfect run, I think we could definitely reset the record, which is, that's 5 years ago I set that record now. We've been 0.1 close to it every year, so.
So just quickly, your name and what's your car?
Shawn Stingers, and this is a Mark II Ford Escort. Well, it's been a race car for a long time. Used to be a dirt rally car. About probably 20 years ago it was converted to a track car, hill climb car, and we've gradually modified it and improved it here and there. And so she's got just your Pinto, pretty worked Pinto, and 45 Webers, Atlas diff, 4-wheel disc brakes, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, bit of fun.
Would you just mind just telling us the story of how the whole event sort of kicked off?
It was an idea that my father, Lionel Stingers, had, and he put it to the Southeastern Automobile Club.
I'm Peter Locke, and this is a 1962 Morris Cooper, not an S. It has a lot of S specification parts in it now, but yeah, originally very old, very early Cooper. I'm assistant director under Kev. Have been for about the last 9 years, and have been continuously on the committee since we set the event up. Oh, it was a bit of a long shot. Lionel Stingers, who you may have already heard about. One day at a club motorcana, he stuck a little diagram on the club catering van with a diagram of the track, and I said, "Where's that?" And he said, "Oh, it's a hill climb I want to run up out of the lakes." And I think pretty much the quote was, "Well, bloody good luck, Lionel, if you can get that past the council." So yeah, 7 years later he did.
I remember coming up here before the first event, and the council was nice enough to close the lakes early for us. They did a test run with Peter Gazzard behind the wheel of an STI Subaru, and sort of made it aware that we had to put a chicane or the bus stop in up the top, because it was hitting too higher speeds up the top if you were just going to hit that right-hander. Plenty of people would end up in the actual caravan park if that wasn't put in. And then the club worked really hard to get it going, and then it's just sort of continued on from there. And my father passed away in 2014, and the club's taken hold of it, and I think everyone who competes, who's part of the event, really loves it, and it's a credit to the club, and we just love coming here.
From humble beginnings with just 75 mostly locals competing at that first event, Legends has grown and it now sees 150 cars compete every year and entries often selling out in under 24 hours. Some of the guys that were there at that very first event have never missed a Legends, such as the man that came third outright last year, Damian Brown.
So my name's Damian Brown. I'm from Commodore, so locally from here, not far away. I've raced down to here at Legends of Lakes for the last, well, every year, so this is the 17th one. This is the 17th time I'll be driving my Subaru, but the first time for this car, new car of mine. It's a 87 Commodore. It was a track car previously, so it's not really set up for hill climb, but I'm having a bit of a go with it, having some fun with it. This I bought already done, yeah, it's actually a VK with a VL front, set up as a 1990 Bathurst winning car as a replica. It's a LS2, a dry sump with a T56 Magnum and 9-inch rear end. Pretty much all good to go, yeah. The look, I love that look since I've seen, when I was a kid actually, I loved this look car with the black and white and all that. Yeah. I used to have like a Lego one pretty much that I made up myself, coloured in with texture and stuff, yeah. It's a big learning curve, yeah. I'm way out of my comfort zone in this thing. Yeah, I've been taking it really easy, but it's been fun, but a challenge, a big challenge compared to the Subaru. I can just jump in that, I know what it's going to do. Yeah, I'm comfortable in that straight away, whereas this thing I haven't been comfortable at all, but it's still been good fun getting it out there.
And quickly through your WRX as well?
Yeah, the WRX started life as a pretty stock two-door STI Type R, and I've slowly built that up over the years to a pretty reliable, tidy track car, race car, hill climb car, yeah.
So, what keeps you coming back to Legends?
Oh, pretty much, because it's a local event, I'm probably biased, but it is probably one of the best, if not the best, hill climb in Australia. Yeah, it's just well run. Look at the location we're in now, it's like pretty awesome. When the sun's out, and the weather's good, it's a pretty good spot, yeah. And I just love the track, the course is great, yeah. And the atmosphere with all the other competitors is always great. People I've met over the last 17 years, that's the best part of it. That's more fun than the racing, really. You come and hang out with your mates, have some fun, and then you jump in the car and run up the hill, basically. Yeah.
For the both of you.
Who's got the bigger balls?
Well,
him so far.
Close. Who's faster?
Currently?
Honestly, who's faster?
Him by a little bit. He normally wins every time, but this week.
Nah, it's normally very close between myself and Norris.
A good rivalry considering he's got a big block 6-cylinder. I've got a baby 4-cylinder.
He's got the budget. I'm just on bold tyres.
G'day, I'm Anthony Norris and my car is an S15 200SX with a SR20 turbo, and I just love coming to the hill climbs.
Andrew Campbell on S14 200SX, and I run a RB2630 with a sequential gearbox. So good fun.
I haven't missed a legend, so I've done every legend, so I classify myself as a legend, unlike this bloke. No, Legends is just one of the best well-organised hill climb event, which is normally November time, and it's just a sensational event, very well organised, and it just runs clockwork. It's really good.
No, I think it's good because you get a massive variety of cars with different power, different setups. Some cars are stock as a rock and they will be within a bee's dick of each other, and it's just that is the best bit.
And when you get to the top flight, you've had a bells are run. How does that actually feel?
It's shaky, very shaky. If it feels like it was a good run, the hands shake and the heart rate is definitely up. And yeah, you just start reliving the moment in a bit.
Coming over the end of the finish line is exactly right. You're shaky and you think, well, that was nice and smooth, and then everyone tells you the time at the top. It's always a good feeling when you bettered your previous time, but you typical Rob Vanderkamp, typical Rob.
My name's Robert Vanderkamp and I reside in Dorr. This here is my historic touring car, XY Falcon, and yeah, pretty much been racing it, this particular car, for probably better part of 20 years for this car. Won a few state events in it and that, but pretty much yeah, just go out and have a bit of fun in it. It's not as wild as what most people think it is. It's got a freestanding roll cage in it, and it'd probably take me, I don't know, probably half a day to put it back on the street again. So as it sits now, yes, it's quite highly modified, but when I say that, like performance engine, the gearbox is pretty much standard, the diff's standard, brakes are souped up for a historic touring car, but really apart from that, suspension wise, a little bit more than normal street, but as a car itself, yeah, it's not over the top. It hasn't been seam welded or anything like that. It's just throw a roll cage in it and go racing pretty much.
So what keeps you coming back to Legends every year, Ross?
It's a fantastic event. Like, it's one of the best run events that we've been involved with. Been involved with in motorsport for many years, and also the people that are here. A great bunch of people that run the event, and you know, all our friends come down. It's just a great social weekend away. Yeah, so it's just the whole overall package, so to speak. Yeah.
Considering it's been running for so long and being contested by probably thousands of people in specialty built cars, it may surprise you to know there's been just 3 winners of the Legend of Lakes Hillclimb. Peter Gazzard is a 7-time champion in his Mitsubishi Evo. Dan Day, who we'll speak to a bit later on, is a 6-time winner in a Subaru WRX. And there's this man and his Datsun. So what's your background with Legends?
They said it's the 17th year, so I was here at the first and missed the last couple of years due to COVID. Other than that, every one. I think I've won 3, and I've been second outright in every other one that I've done. Yeah, so that'll probably change this year. Might, you know, it's, as long as I'm in the top 10, I'll be happy. Yeah, yeah, and when you look around at some of the cars that are here, they tell me how fast they are. Yeah, maybe top 5. We'll see. Kevin Mackrell, old 260Z Datsun. I call it a tractor because it is just a Datsun 260Z for all those out there that think it's on a Hilux chassis or a Cruiser chassis or a whatever chassis. It's not. It's just a 260Z with a diff grafted in the front, uprights and drive shafts and what have you, with a transfer case. It's small block Chev, 200 or 300 horse with a 6-speed dog box, and that's about it. And I might add, it's a lock transfer, mechanical limo front and rear, so it doesn't turn too good.
One thing I've always been a bit curious about, Kevin, is you got a fair bit of aero stuff going on. You got wings.
Oh, I don't know whether any of it works.
So it's just you put it on there and sort of hope for the best type of thing?
Yeah.
No wind tunnels, no?
No, none of that. Can't afford that. You've got to remember, I built the car. I built the engine, I painted the car, I do every conversion on it. It's, so, you know, I can't afford a wind tunnel. What do I want to do that for? Times tell you whether you've got any aero or not. No, I think some of it works a bit, but yeah, it must. Yeah, for sure.
And what's your background with motorsport? You obviously didn't just wake up one day and show up.
Oh no, I was into dirt bikes a bit for a while, and you know, I give them away I think in 2000, but I think it was 97. This will be a good one. I lost my licence for 6 months, and I was lucky to lose it for 6 months. So I had a Hilux, dual cab Hilux, which was around 600 horse. I used to autocross, and you know, I was second outright for 2 or 3 years running in the Victorian Autocross series with that. And first time I come across Simon Evans in a GTIR, I was faster than him at the autocross. Opened his eyes a little bit. But yeah, so I progressed from the Hilux and built this, like I say, for the dirt, autocross for 3 years. And then did a bit of tarmac. I think it was 2003. I won the Victorian Autocross Series outright and the Victorian Hillclimb Series outright. So 27 events for the year, something had to go. So I just retired it from the dirt, and it's changed a lot since the dirt, obviously. But that's what it was built for. And the last engine in on the dirt was probably about 750 horse. It's got a few more Neds now. Did I say 200 before?
You might have.
Yeah,
How
I
many
might
is it
have.
actually running?
Well,
If you don't mind.
well, on a hub dyno, it's around 800 horse at the wheels. So it's got plenty.
While most of the vehicles here are dedicated race cars, some brave souls are game enough to compete here in the car they need to drive to work on Monday morning. Last year, in his first Legends event, this fella took home class honours in his daily driven Toyota. I mean Subaru.
Alright, so Nathan Crettendon, and I drive a 2017 Subaru BRZ. It's mostly stock, nothing done to the engine other than it's tuned to run on E85, and it is running aftermarket headers, and it also has a different ratio final drive in the diff, just to give it a little bit more acceleration at the cost of top end speed.
So you drive down in your race car?
Yeah, that's right. So I'm in the road registered class, and the spirit of that class is generally that you drive there. And this is my daily driver. I drive this to work. I'll be driving it to work all week. It's stock interior. The kid seats are out at the moment. They'll go back in for the week ahead. And yeah, unless I bin it, then it's the car for the week ahead as well. The car's great to drive. It is a two-wheel, rear-wheel driven vehicle. It's a little low on the power, but through the corners it punches above its weight, especially for its class. So yeah, it's a good, fun car to drive.
You get to the finish line and you've had like a really solid run. How does that feel?
Yeah, look, I can refer to probably last year when I was racing against my friend Tim, and we were both in the same class. We were neck and neck the whole day, and we both got out of a run where we were pretty much on the line, and we both got out with the shakes. And you know, you probably have pushed it right to the max when you've got that. And I managed to get the victory by 0.04 of a second, so it felt even better.
Bragging rights, 12 months.
Bragging rights, yep, that's it.
It's hard to be in the Valley Lakes complex and not be taken aback by just how scenic it actually is. The lake itself is one of 4 in Mount Gambier, including the famous Blue Lake, to be created about 4,500 years ago when Magna hit groundwater and exploded. It was the most recent volcanic eruption on mainland Australia, with Indigenous Australians not only witnessing it, but passing the story down ever since. Indigenous Boandik people call the Valley Lakes area Sacred Talking Tree, which seems appropriate when for 51 weeks of the year it's used for picnics, birthday parties and get-togethers. If the trees could talk about that leftover weekend, they might even have more stories than this guy has Commodores.
I'm Lindsay Beare. This is a V6 VT Commodore, 6-speed close ratio gearbox, coil-over suspension, that sort of thing. Well, I come originally from Speedway, but used to race Speedway years ago, and then I've sort of went to bitumen stuff, which I enjoyed. And this motor in this, it's camshaft, heads, valve springs, extractors, computer, rev limiter, all that sort of stuff.
Do you race 2 Commodores every year, or is this...
Most years, yeah. I get my eye in, and this one is a lot slower. And then I hop into the SS and drive that. Well, the track itself's great, as you know. You can't afford to make a mistake, otherwise you end up in the bar, as you know. But no, it's quick, and it's not like it's an enduro thing, so you don't get tired doing it. So yeah, it's quick and it's all over, and of course it's all the matemanship, with all the fellas come down here and talk cars and yap a lot and all that sort of thing, you know.
What is it that keeps you coming back to Legends year after year after year?
Well, it's the speed you can do here, you know. Where can you break the law in speed? You can't, you know. We're here, you can go as quick as you want. Is you game enough to do? I scare myself, and that's what it's all about. I enjoy that, you know. You get your heart rate up, and that's what it's all about. It's not how quick you really are, it's how you feel about your run, right?
At Bathurst, the main drivers do around 80 laps of practice and qualifying before they start the 161 lap race. At Legends, you get somewhere around 10 laps total throughout the weekend. In that time, you must learn or relearn the track, get up to speed with a car you might not have driven for months, and successfully keep it off the walls. If it rains, you won't set a fast time. If you mess up one turn, you will not be beating your PB. It's a challenge best overcome by some of the most experienced drivers on the grid.
My name's Russel McKenzie, I'm from Ballarat. I have a little Nissan Pulsar GTIR I bought in Japan in 1999, and I've competed in it ever since. It's not terribly modified. It's running a slightly bigger turbo and an aftermarket computer, set of forged pistons, and basically really not much more to the motor. Suspension's been upgraded, brakes have been upgraded, and it's not that far away from a standard car. I was a car dealer. I'm retired now, but I was a car dealer, and I used to import a lot of cars from Japan. I actually had compliance on GTIR Pulsars at one stage, and when I was over there one day, I found the car and thought I wouldn't mind keeping that myself. So that's it. It came from Japan with the roll bar in it, etc. I think it's a genuine Nissan roll cage. So it's probably been a competition car all its life.
And roughly how many events do you think you've done with it?
Well, I was trying to think of that before. I'm on my second Motorsport Australia logbook, but I also had a club logbook before that, which was pretty full. So it would have, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 events each year for the last 20 odd years. So it's a few.
When you get to the top of the hill and you've had like the perfect run, how does that feel? Describe how that feels.
I'm still waiting to have the perfect run. it'd be nice to be able to get to the top of the hill and say, that was absolutely perfect. But there's always something you could have done better. And once you've got that right, you realise you've messed something else up. So we're still living for the day when we can get that perfect run. But I'm looking forward to it. Maybe.
One of the biggest draw cards of the Legends event is actually the track itself. Spanning 1.4 k's and about 15 corners, it's a perfect mix of technical and tight low-speed sections and bravery testing flat-foot moments. I'm actually a 6-time competitor here myself, most notably in a 500 rear-wheel kilowatt, 2-ton 6-speed Chrysler 300C, so I like to think I kind of know my way around the track. So, with the help of our mates, I'm going to give you an in-depth look at the Legends circuit. So every run here at Legends starts in the tyre cleaning pad down under the Legends sign. So you're not allowed to do giant burnouts there because it's not actually safe for the marshals, but what you do want to do is try to get a bit of heat in your tyres to help you get a solid start. From there you move up to the start line, and there's a bit of discussion about what the best way to use the start line actually is. You can position yourself anywhere along there, to the left or to the right. Some people like to go to the left to make the first corner into an arc. Other people like to start on the right to get the best racing line to get into the first corner. I just copy what the quick guys do.
All down to getting a good launch at the start. It starts with that. If you get good grip off the line, then you know you're going to set a good time from there, basically. Get good grip off the line. For me, it's first, second, third gear for the first corner here.
If we look over here into the first corner, in most cases, you're in second or third gear, you've got your foot flat, and you want to try to be able to take that pretty much flat out. The pits are right there. The guys can hear you if you back off, and it's definitely key to get good speed early to hopefully set you up for a good run.
Through the kink. If the car's flat through the kink, there's a lot of faith in that, and if it's not, very sketchy going through it. So that is the most scary part to me.
So if you successfully navigate the first corner, you come around and it goes straight into a right and then into a left. You can still be pretty much fully into the car when you get to the top of that hill where you're starting to turn left. That's actually a really difficult corner because you've spent the whole time flat out at this stage, and what you're coming up to is a really tight right.
Oh, look, to me, I really like the bottom of the track where it's nice and tight and twisty and flowing.
I really think down through the S's here is probably the best part of the track. Yeah, enjoy that.
This is actually a really deceptively hard right turn. So you come out of some pretty much straightaway stuff, you can get away with being pretty much flat, but you have to brake quite hard for this and position yourself accordingly as well. So the whole track bottoms out away from you. And if you're positioned in the wrong place, you will certainly end up in the bark chips, as I've done on a couple of occasions.
I do find the first part of the track difficult to learn, and you hold back a little bit, and then as you go through it, you're like, oh gee, I could have given it a little bit more, and you keep building on that all weekend.
So as you come around there safely, you come into what's called the Armco chicane. So it's a tricky one because you want to be as close and tight to the metal barriers as possible, but you also don't want to wipe off half your car.
I love the bridge part, the little S's just as before you hit the bridge there. Just trying to get that perfect line through there. I'm sure there's a straight line there, I just haven't found it yet.
I like the bottom part up until you open it up going up the hill. I think that's my favourite. You can really push it through there.
If you get through that, you're into a very hard left-hander, which you're taking absolutely flat out, and that's where you carry your speed all the way up to the top of the hill.
If you can get it out through the S's just right, you can just stand on it and just walk up the hill. It's really great.
Well, that big swooping left as you go up the hill, it's very high speed. I can't take my eye off the road and look at the speedo.
Honestly, the big climb up the middle part of the hill, where you come up, the left-hand sweeper, it's sort of, pretty hard in fourth, then I grab fifth after the next left, and I like speed, and this car handles speed very well. So to me, it's an edgy part of the track, but it's very exciting.
Having the big balls right at the top, like belting it up the hill and just giving it everything it's got.
Yeah, the high speed bit just before the chicane, that's good fun too. That's a real hang on for the ride job. So.
When you come to the top of the hill here, you're going probably up to 180, 200 kilometres an hour. You turn around that sharp right into this very hard left. Now you've got to brake somewhere at that point. If you leave it too late, you will mess up this hairpin and you will be way out of action. How do you do it? What's your trick? How do you pull her up?
Well, desperately.
There's a pretty fine line there, but yeah, I've maybe made a mistake once, but yeah, can be very costly and very expensive at that end.
Last year I was coming up to the top, about to turn into the chicane, and someone told me previously that I was going too slow into it, so carried a bit more speed up and had a bit of lift off oversteer and a bit of a panic, and bent the railing quite a bit on the corner. It sort of went up on the curb and pivoted off that and pushed in a fair bit, but it's back here. It actually got pulled out yesterday.
You come through the left, you're going flat out. You've got to try to plan your run so you're not going too fast and end up in the middle of nowhere, and getting your line right for what is the trickiest part of the track. At the hairpin here, some of the guys do a really cool hydraulic handbrake turn. It's very difficult to do well, and it's normally slower than it actually needs to be. But the reason a lot of guys do it is this area is actually normally full of spectators, and it's a great bit of fun to put on a bit of show for the crowd.
Hit the bus stop, down to second, down to first, handbrake for the hairpin there, make sure you do the biggest slide and smoke as much as you can for the spectators there.
You come out of that, there's this one more left-hander here. It's 90 degrees and it's a lot tighter than you expect it to be. If you're like me, you're probably about sideways by now, and then we go into the final corner. You come out of that corner and you probably get into about second or third gear here, and then it's quite a sharp right and up to and across the finish line. By now you definitely know if this is a good run, and I asked some of the drivers what it feels like when you know you've pulled off that perfect run.
I normally get out of the car with no handshake. When you nail a really good lap, you get out of the car and you're rattling. So you've actually got a bit of adrenaline pumping.
You get to the top, you just know it's been a great run. Yeah, it's a bit of a fist pump, and then you realise your face is flushed and your blood's rushing, and you can really feel the adrenaline smoking through your body.
It feels pretty awesome. I don't think I've done it yet, but I've come close. Normally there's one part that if I nail it, I'm pretty happy, and that's up at the top at the hairpin.
When it all comes together and you don't have to add pieces, or you don't have a catch or a bit of a lose or a late break or an early break, you're very comfortable in the car. So that's always good. That's a good feeling.
Well, you take a deep breath of air because you know you haven't hit anything. So it's a relief when you get to the top and you've done well.
And it's especially better when you get to the top and you don't have to work on the car. Like last year, when I had that off, I sort of got up to the top and what's bent? And you look underneath it and see the damage. It's the best feeling when you get up the top and you don't wreck the car, and if you get a good time, well, that's a bonus. I'm just in it for a bit of fun.
Being a true grassroots event means that you have people from all walks of life and all sorts of cars competing together, laughing together, and having an absolute blast together. For this one weekend a year, your job, your background, and even your car don't really matter. We're all just mates sending it up the hill together. One thing everyone here has in common is their love for cars and the thrill of pushing them to their limits. These next two guys show that contrast, but also the shared passion, which, to me, is what Legends is really all about.
Okay, I'm Greg Keene, and this is a Porsche 911 GT2 RS. You've got the most powerful road car that Porsche have ever built, which is why I've done so well, nothing to do with skill. I'm lucky enough to have driven a lot of Porsches in my time and raced them. This thing is totally sensational. It'll get to 100 from a standing start, I think in about 2.5 seconds, which is just ridiculously quick. Acceleration is the thing that you really notice in this car, 750 horsepower. It's a bit of a beast because all that power goes out through the back, but Porsche have been building these things for 50 years, and despite the fact that it's got so much power, it is still a delight to drive if you don't get too silly in what you do. No creature comforts. Every bump you go over, you feel it. You can't go over a spoon drain straight on because you'll scrape the front of it. Oh look, it's a car that you can drive on the road and it's road registered, and yes, you can go down to the shop, but it's not particularly a pleasant car for that sort of thing. We keep it in the garage and bring it out for this sort of event. Well, I mean, I've done a fair bit of motor racing in the past, Career Cup, Touring Car Masters, IROC, Porsche racing. These days we just do track events. We do hill climbs up at Colin Grove and this hill climb, of course. So we're just sort of cruising along, and when I say we, I'm talking about my wife, who was the 2011 Touring Car Masters National Champion. Embarrassingly beat me, but you know, that happens. So, you know, we have a lot of fun, but we're at the tail end of our motorsport career, and you know, perhaps if I'd had this lovely thing a bit earlier, I might have done better, but anyway, it is what it is.
You send it, bro?
Yeah. I made it up here too, that's a bonus. In one piece, in one unbent piece as well. Hey, my name's Chris and this is my 2002 Mitsubishi Magna.
How long have you been competing at Legends, Chris?
About 5 or 6 years now. So I've been running the Magna. I ran a different one the first year and liked it, so I actually built a proper one. It was actually a free car I got from my mother-in-law. She had it for quite a few years. It's done nearly 500,000 Ks and it was tidy, but it was really mechanically stuffed. So got a 380 motor in it, put some cams in it and a limited slip diff. And yeah, goes faster than I can drive it.
So what's it like to actually take a front-wheel drive car up here?
Well, I've never really driven a rear-wheel drive car at any great like speed or distance, but for what I'm used to, it's fine. Like it holds the road pretty good. The biggest thing is trying to catch the rear if it steps out, because you've got no real control over it. I sort of relate it to like a trailer. You've got everything in the front, just a trailer in the back. I definitely have a ball of fun with it. It's just, it's a good laugh. It's something different, and you know, it's just something different, and I enjoy that.
One of the coolest things about Legends is that people come back year after year, gradually developing their road cars into flat-out monsters in the pursuit of tenths of seconds. There is no better example of that than this Corvette chassis Commodore.
It's Mick Argoon. This is me 1985 VK Commodore Big Banger. It's had a bit of a rendition to what it was last year and a bit of a rebuild, and yeah, struggling a bit with it this year, but we'll get there. We've missed a year through a breakdown, but that was the night before, so never missed one.
Never missed one apart from that.
Entered every Legends.
And when you first started out, were you in a Commodore from day one?
Yeah, I bought an ex-show car, VB Commodore, and took off from there. I've been this particular car 7 years ago, so it had a major rebuild from there, but yeah, been a couple of them.
Tell us that story of how this came to be.
Well, I crashed the car. We salvaged a few bits out of it, put it into a spare car, and ran that for about a year. In between times we went to America, and I was having a look around over there and came across a C6 Corvette, and yeah, an idea bloomed. It's a tube frame, space frame car now. A lot of fiberglass, still a tin top, still a front engine tin top car. So yeah, basically it's an LS, 6 litre LS with a trans tube and a sequential dog box.
And what's it actually like to drive?
I think we've got to a stage where it's pretty well balanced. It's an angry car to drive, but yeah, we're getting there. I've been part of the committee for the last couple of years, so yeah, I think we put on one of the best shows in Australia. I've been to a lot of hill climb events. You know, you get your iconic venues like Bathurst and Colin Grove, and you know, and Mount Cotton and places like that, where it's all about the history and it's about being there at the track. I mean, there's not a lot of history here other than it's a fantastic event, you know, run by a very small group of people, and it turns out to be a really, really good event, very picturesque. So, yeah.
Before we get to our final two competitors who just happen to be the fastest guy and girl up the hill, I'd like to take a moment to talk about some of the legends behind the scenes. It takes a full year to plan each event, over a week to set up the track and barricades, and what must be a very hectic 3 days while we run up the course. All the work is done by a relatively small group of SEAC volunteers from around Mount Gambier, with each year feeling even more organised than the last. From the competitors, I just want to thank everybody behind the scenes who work so hard to make the event so special. From holding a minute's silence for Remembrance Day to a nutbush dance-off for charity, you've created a truly unique place where everyone can feel welcome and have a brilliant time. What's it like being a girl in a male-dominated sort of sport?
To be honest, it just feels like anything else. The motorsport community, wherever I've gone, have been completely and utterly accepting of me being here. I've never felt out of place, but I definitely enjoy beating the boys. There's always that competitive edge, but to be honest, I'm actually more competitive with the girls. I really don't like being beaten by them, so that just edges me on that bit more, but I do like giving it to the boys as well, for sure. There's always a bit of banter at the end of each event, so it's great. Okay, I'm Tania Langcake. I have a Subaru WRX GC8. Started hill climbing in my daily WRX. Realised I was hooked after a couple of years, so found this was an eBay bargain, stock standard repairable ride-off. Got it sent over from Queensland, and then just slowly started modifying it and turning it into the car it is now. It now has a 207 engine in it instead of the 205. It's on E85, so it's pulling a nice 235 kilowatts at all four wheels. I've put on wider tyres, running 265s and the flared guards just to give it a bit more of a tough look. So otherwise it's just little minor bits and pieces here and there.
How do you explain it to your non-car friends what exactly you do?
That's a really good question. For me, the easiest way to explain it is that just, what are you passionate about? And I said that because this is what I'm passionate about, and how you feel about your hobby is how I feel about mine. It's, you know, it's the fastest from the top to the bottom. Sounds simple, but never is.
Awesome stuff. When we're talking about the fastest at this event, for nearly a decade, just one man and one car have absolutely earned that title.
You see here, kid, you gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before.
My name's Dan Day, and this is the SJ1000 Subaru. We've built it in-house at S&J Automotive, and it's been up and running for nearly 7 years now. And each year we try and make a couple changes here and there to make it go faster and faster. When we got it, it was only a couple of years old, but it was a complete road car. And we built the whole car within 8 weeks in our workshop to make it for the 2016 event. So it was a big push, but we really wanted to make it, you know, this to be the debut event for the car, and we managed to win the event, our first event in the car. So.
You see here, you gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta take a deep breath and jump.
Yeah, so it's basically just got a full welded-in rally style roll cage, and engine-wise it's got a billet block in it, which is a core part of why we built the car, because Subarus are going to be quite unreliable in their engine department. So we've solved that with a billet block, a dry sump, and had various turbo combos on the car. Got a PPG sequential gearbox in it, which is now air paddle shift, and the rear diff is still the factory spec C rear diff. We've got V8 supercar brakes on it, and all the subframes and all the sort of bolt-on parts, but effectively the car is built from bolt-on parts we sell at S&J.
You see here, kid, gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump. And you might think, what if I fall? Well, what if you don't? What if you fly?
What's it actually like steering this thing up there?
It's very brutal and aggressive. It torque steers a lot, especially up the middle section. You know, we approach nearly 200 k's an hour before the bus stop. Driving fifth gear, you know, so it is a bumpy ride, but the Super Shock dampers do a fantastic job. But it is a lot of car to handle because of the power delivery. It's quite aggressive. So that's something we've actually worked on this weekend by going to a twin scroll turbocharger to have the power coming on earlier and more linear. So it's a more drivable car. So
how much power do you actually run here?
About the 800 horsepower. We've got a boost all the way up to 900 horsepower in this, but you sort of find that limit of traction pretty quickly, and you actually turn up the boost and you can go backwards on the time. So I think, you know, about 480 kilowatts at the wheels is what we aim for here, and we can just put it all down there nicely. So. In the past, I've done 3 years of the Dunlop series and the V8 supercars. Done a bit of Porsche Cup racing, and done a few years of the ARC rally driving in my earlier years. So done a mixture of events, never really done go-karting or anything. It's always been in the deep end. And yeah, the last 7 years has been focused on this car, doing hill climbs and time attack events. So, and then further developing it for our workshop. So.
And what do you think of the actual Legend circuit itself?
Out of all the hill climbs, I've done basically every hill climb in the country now, and this is by far always my favourite. It's just got the right mix of low speed stuff at the start, then it's got the big high speed stretch to a tight finish, so it suits all makes and models of vehicles. You know, full drive and tool drive can be fast here, and we've sort of worked out the best balance of all of that in the one car for this track. So.
And as far as the event goes, you've had a bit of success here, it's fair to say?
Yes, yeah, we've won it 6 times in a row now, and always had some solid competition, you know, including Kevin Mackrell. You know, he's always 0.1 or 0.2 either side of us, but we're always aiming for that, you know, new record each year, you know, getting back into the 49s, so yeah.
So that's your aim, is to set a new record this weekend?
Exactly. It's always our aim, and you know, if the weather holds out, we've got the tyres. We think we've got the car to do it with all the little changes we've got under there. So I think if I get that one perfect run, I think we could definitely reset the record, which is, you know, that's 5 years ago I set that record now. We've been 0.1 close to it every year, so.
It sort of sums up what it's like for all of us here. Like you're at the top of the pile, obviously, but we all come back every year trying to just like.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. It's very challenging because, you know, it's 12 months in between runs here for everyone. It's not like we can come and do test days here and work on the setup of the cars. It's pretty much you're just straight into racing 12 months later. The track degrades in those 12 months of weather and so on. So it's yes, very challenging to get faster and faster, but that's why you keep tweaking the car and trying different things. So.
What did you down last one? What has it got in the tank? Certainly done a lot better than we did there last year, where we dropped 1.5 up to the brown, middle of brown plate. The car. So, thought that one. He's on the way to the top, folks. Here we come. You'll hear it coming. Here it is. 100 mile an hour there. Nice and tidy. Good for him. Coming out of the head. Do you reckon he's about this donut? I don't think so. Goes across the line. Have a look at this. What's he got? A 49.0!
So as we crown Dan Day as a 7-time Legend of the Lakes winner here today, I just want to thank you for watching. I want to thank the event organisers for putting all this on, all the event sponsors, all the people that have spoken to us over the weekend, and everybody around us that makes it happen. Huge thank you to Dylan Sainsbury for all his help with this project. And I hope you've enjoyed the video. Like it, share it around with your friends, put it into your car communities. A lot of work goes on behind the scenes of this event, and if you're a race car driver, come down one day, give Legends a go, because it really is the best grassroots motorsport event in Australia.
Come in a bit, Kevin. That's it.